welcome back to the C Morning Show. As promised, we have our second talk show of the morning. And I don't know about you folks at home, but here in Jakarta especially, Hans, the weather has been a little hot and cold.
Yeah, it's kind of like very fluctuating.
Yeah, it's
right?
very hot and dry one second, and the next it's pouring rain.
No, I haven't been washing my car for like 2 weeks now.
Because
like
there's
3
no
weeks.
point. Yeah, the rain will wash the car itself. Now, the majority of provinces in Indonesia are also predicted to be hit by moderate to heavy rain in the middle of the season transitional period.
The National Meteorological, Climatological and Geophysical Agency stated that currently most of the regions, especially the southern part of Indonesia, are entering the season transitional period from the rainy season to dry season. After last week's hot spell, especially in Greater Jakarta, extreme weather is predicted to return.
That is right, and the agency also encourages holiday travelers to be cautious and alert during this year's Eid homecoming period, as extreme weather is expected to occur in a number of regions.
And to know more on the weather updates, we are now joined by a senior forecaster from the agency, Agita Vivi. Good morning, Vivi.
Good morning, Mas Han.
Thank you so much for joining us here in the studio. So Indonesia, especially in Greater Jakarta, has experienced a season transitional period lately from hot weather to the heavy rain in just hours, now accompanied by heavy lightning and strong wind. And to be even more detailed, what's the weather forecast like for the upcoming week?
Okay, so we experience this fluctuative and really dynamic of the weather in most of Indonesia. But in Jakarta itself, we experience like this gloomy morning.
Exactly.
Yes. Actually, in Indonesia right now, the equatorial rossby is in active condition. So in Sumatra, Jawa, and most of Kalimantan will experience like severe weather maybe in the several days ahead. But in Sulawesi, Bali, and then Nusa Tenggara, and Maluku, and Papua, it will less rainy days in the first several days of this week. But it will also increase the rainfall maybe in the last weeks.
Later
maybe,
on,
Yes, later on, like maybe 5 days later, maybe because the weather is like a moving pattern, have this moving pattern.
That's right, because it's usually already rainy in the places that Vivi have mentioned, but right now it's still pretty dry. In fact, you mentioned Bali as well, Vivi. When we were in Bali 2 weeks ago, my fiance actually ended up in the ER due to heat exhaustion. Because he was riding the motorbike and surfing the whole day, and apparently wasn't drinking enough fluids, and so he almost fainted really because of the weather. Now, with that being said, we are entering the Ramadan month. People are doing Eid homecoming soon. What advice would you have for these people who will be traveling outside? And some people are even going to be traveling on motorbikes, without any coverage.
Now, right now we are in Ramadan, and most of people in Indonesia is fasting.
Exactly.
Yes. So it's very important to fulfill our water requirement, like maybe during the evening or at night, drink as much water as you can, so that you can still fulfill your daily needs. And as for the maybe people who are traveling, just make sure to choose the safe transportation. Like actually, it's not recommended to use motorcycle to travel long journey, but yes, but maybe there's no other option, so that motorcycle maybe just we can just go with it. But make sure you check the weather condition before that, and just prepare your coat, prepare your umbrella, and be careful of slippery roads. Yes, and that's it.
So basically, be ready for anything that will come, and also do all the preventive measures. So, Mbak Vivi, just confirming. So now Indonesia is moving towards the rainy season, from hot to rainy season or rainy to hot season?
Actually, in Indonesia, we have two seasons.
Yes.
Rainy season and dry season.
Yes.
And in this March, usually we are moving from rainy season to dry season. But you know, Indonesia is so large,
Yes.
so it's not right just to generalize everything. But mostly, yes, we are moving from rainy season to dry season.
Now, during this transitional period, or in Indonesian, we call it pancaroba, we saw a lot of effects following the transitional period, like we saw a lot of dengue fever cases and stuff like that, and also people are actually experiencing some difficulties on the road with the fluctuative rain and also heat. But when will the situation be returned to normal during this season? And also, does weather change only happen in Indonesia? Because in the previous El Nino affected dry season last year, we saw not only Indonesia being affected, but also some other parts of the world too. For this particular time, does it only happen in Indonesia?
So actually, let me make the chronological order first.
Oh yes, please.
Yes, okay. So starting from the end of February, actually Indonesia in general and Greater Jakarta as well is experiencing severe weather due to some phenomena like MGO, equatorial Rossby, and we have 3 tropical cyclone in phases at that time in the southern of Indonesia.
True.
So these all phenomena combine together and lead to severe weather in most of Indonesia at the period. And then we have like this surprise period where the weather is kind of fair, sunny condition and a lack of rain for several days. We have those conditions in this March. And then we have this different weather pattern again. Sunny in the morning and rainy in the afternoon, maybe lead to thunderstorm, strong wind, or maybe putting bloom. Yes, we also have that kind of weather. But actually, this pattern that I said lately is quite common in tropical countries. Because in tropical countries, we have 2 fundamental sources of weather. The sun radiation and the water vapor, because we are in waters, so we have a lot of waters and we have a lot of sun radiation.
Right.
So it's very easy for Indonesia to experience this kind of weather pattern. And it's also common in other tropical country as well. But in Indonesia, because we have waters, so the convective or the strength of the clouds that form, it's quite strong. So I think that's what makes it very significant in Indonesia.
And does it only happen in Indonesia, or also some areas in the region?
Also the other area, maybe in tropical country, especially, because in higher latitude, they will have less solar radiation.
I see. So probably the follow-up question would be, here in Jakarta, I don't know in other provinces, but here in Jakarta, we did experience some local rain. I mean, in one area, let's say I live in Kemang.
Yeah, but
area,
next door where I am.
Next door where you live, around in Pondok Indah area, might not be raining.
Even though it's in the south.
Even though we're actually adjacent to each other. So how is that situation being explained, Mbak Vivi?
Yes, that's mainly caused by the local weather pattern. Like we have this, as I said before, we have this like convective activity in the tropics. We have a lot of solar radiation, and then we have significant relative humidity in the atmosphere. So it will be very easy for the air to rise up, and then it will form clouds. And it can happen very local and sporadic. So maybe 2 kilometers ahead there's rain, heavy rainfall, but maybe 2 kilometers behind it's not raining at all. So this kind of condition is very normal.
Very normal.
Very normal. It's not. I've always wondered, how does that work?
How is my car being like so wet, getting into one area? The street are so dry.
Exactly. You would, drive into an area and you see all the other cars are dry and yours is the only,
wet car.
Yeah. But I mean, seeing the pattern, Bafifi, we can see that when it's dry, it's very hot, but when it rains, it pours here, right? Now, when it rains very hard, it obviously causes very severe flooding, as we have seen in numerous parts here, at least in Jakarta where we are. But aside from floods, is there any other effects of weather change that we should be aware of?
Yes, actually, according to the National Disaster Management Authorities, BNPB, there are several hazards that we need to be aware of. The first one is like the extreme weather. Actually, extreme weather is varies from a heavy rainfall and then strong winds, thunderstorm, and also putting bloom. And then we also have a set of floods, landslides as secondary hazard, and also this storm surge. But storm surge is mostly in the coastline area where the waves becomes higher as the cumulonimbus glows.
Okay, so the coastal area might be on the northern coastal, as we call it, Pantura, and then the southern coast in Java, and also some other parts of Indonesia over along the coastal line. So, Vivi, before we say goodbye to you, what should we do to anticipate weather change? Not only here in Jakarta, because we're in a big city, but also in general in Indonesia.
Okay, as for the weather change that happen like every day, the diurnal cycle, which might mostly leads to health issue. Maybe we need to just take more vitamins, just make sure that we fulfill our water requirement. And then in the other side, we also need to be prepared for the hydrometeorological hazard that can be caused by this easily changing weather, like floods. We need to make sure that our environment is safe and ready if there is a lot of rain coming, because in this March, at this month, or maybe last February, we experienced like the highest rainfall observed in Indonesia. It's almost reached 400 millimeters for 24 hours.
Wait, 400 millimeters for 24 hours, which normally would be?
We will say like heavy rainfall is more than 50 millimeters for 24 hours.
Whoa. So that's like, I don't know, eightfold?
Yes.
Eightfold, wow.
Wow.
And that was in Sumatra Barat, West Sumatra, and we also experienced the rainfall more than 200 millimeters for 24 hours in Jakarta some days ago, and also in Semarang. So we need to be careful of those kind of rainfall.
All right, so remember what Vivi just said. It's actually also health related. Get your vitamin C, D, E, multivitamins. If you're at my age, you have to get ginkgo biloba and glucosamine because of my joints are actually now starting to, squeaking. Okay, Vivi, thank you so much,
thank you so much
for being here and also feed us with more knowledge about weather forecasts and conditions, and also some preventive measures. Thank you so much. And we are going for a quick break. After this, Archie will return with a recap from the water sports. Do not go anywhere.